Here we go, question 1. Clarissa received a $20 gift card to download music from iTunes. Each song costs $2. What is the range? We're gonna start going straight to, is it domain or range? So in this case, they're asking, what is the range? So if I were to write an equation, it would be 2 times the number of songs, and I can get up to $20 worth of songs. Remember, this is the input. So that is what you're putting into the problem. Those are the songs. The songs are the input, or the domain. The question is asking what is the range, so you cannot use the songs, so we're not using anything that deals with X. So then the question is, what is the value of the Y? What is the maximum amount that I can spend? Well, the maximum amount I can spend is $20. The minimum I can spend is 0. If I do 0 songs, so there you go, the answer is D. So that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to go right to, is it domain or range? This time it's domain. We're looking at the X values. So if I look at just the X axis, notice this point uses 1 and then 2, and then this point is on 3, this point here is on 4, this point here is on 5, this point here is on 6, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just that simple. Number 3, which graph shows the domain? So we have to go along the x-axis. So the x-axis, remember, we're going left or right. We're not going up or down, so we can cross this guy out, we can cross this guy out. We're looking for something that's greater than 7. So that's an open circle, and it's going to start at 7. So I know it's kind of hard to see here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7's right here. And to go greater than, you go to the right. Your answer is A. And look at number 4 here. Question 4. Question 4 says, what's the process of finding the domain, the x's? So if I were to actually answer this, and I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is at -5, and I would build a fence, right? So it'd be -5, and that would be an open circle. And then this one here would be 1, 2, 3, wait, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'd build a fence, and that's a closed circle. And so let's see what it says here. Use the minimum y values or the x values. I'm sorry, use the maximum and minimum y values. No. Is it all real numbers? No, because these have 2 dots or 2 endpoints. That would only occur if it were arrows. Use the max and min values of the x. Yes. That's what we did. We find the minimum value on the x, we build a fence. We find the maximum value on the x, we build a fence. Look at 5. What's the slope of a line that contains these points here? Well, you can go through and you could actually graph this if you wanted to. Let's do this over here instead. Let's see here. Let's clean this up. Let's do one right here. X and Y. So we're going to plot this. We're going to go over 0 and up 5. So over 0 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I plot a point. And then this one here, we're going to go -4 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I were to connect those, you would see that it's a straight line going across. And if you remember, when Slope Dude is skiing straight across, he is having 0 fun. So my slope is 0. Number 6, they want to know what's the parent. If I have these particular points here, well, if you look right here, it's not going up at a constant rate. See how it goes up 2, and then it goes up 4, and then it goes up 8, and then it goes up 16. So I know that it's not a linear graph. And if you notice, look at the y value. See how they're going up rapidly? It starts at 2, and then it starts to go all, it's like it starts at 2, and then it goes, whoo, shoots all the way up to 32. So our answer is D. It's not B because this data does not come down and then go back up. It's just going up at a rapid rate. You could also graph those points. If you were to come over here and graph those, go over 1 and up 2 and you put a point, go over 2 and up 4 and you put a point. You can do that and you'll start to see that the graph will just shoot way up. All right, 7. Let's see here. What's the domain? So what are the x values? These are the x values right here. Remember we said f of x, that's just another way of saying y. We talked about that. So -4, -1, 0, 2, and 7. The answer is A. Number 8. We said if you have the functional notation to write f of x underneath there. And then what you do is you circle this, and the reason why we're doing that is because now we're saying that x has a value of -4. Now a lot of you thought that this was the answer up here, but that is not the answer. Because if I look at this point, this is -2, 4. This is -2, 4. I'm looking for what is the missing part that goes with x if x is -4? Well, if I go 1, 2, 3, -4, do I hit the graph? Yes, so the missing part or the missing piece of the coordinate is 0. Number 9, what's the range? So we're looking for the y values. We can rewrite this in kid-friendly form if we wanted to. So we're wanting to know what are the y values here if these are my x's. Okay, so if I wanted to do an xy table, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we said if they give us the equation, we can use the calculator. And that's what we're going to do. 4 to the x power. We're going to go to our table. When x is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is 4. When x is 2, y is 16, 64, and 256. And so you can see our answer is D. Question 10 is a little wordy. I know they give us an equation right here. So I can rewrite that as y equals 45x plus 850. So let's see what they're telling us here. X is the number of uniforms. So this is number of uniforms. And since I know that, remember that's my domain. That's my input. So if X is the number of uniforms, we know the output, the cost, right, would be, this would be the range, right? So let's see what the question's asking here. First off, it's asking what is the domain? So they want to know what's the domain here. Okay, let's figure out what they said. If there are at least 7 players but no more than 10, so that means we could have X can be 7, 8, 9, or 10. It can't be 7 point something. It has to be 7, 8, 9, or 10. So the question's asking, what is the possible domain? Well, the answer is C, because that's what you plug into the problem there. Number 11, let's get right to it. Based on the graph, which statement is true. Okay, let's move this up just a little bit here. So now we have to go through and test some stuff. So we're looking for true. The range is the set of all real numbers. Well, that's not true because range is from top to bottom, right? I can build a floor. Well, if I can build a floor, I can't use all real numbers. Well, let's see here. The range is the set of all real numbers less than 0. So that means it would be below here. And actually it's not, it's above, so it's not A. The domain is the set of all real numbers greater than 4. Well, if I start here at 4 on the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I go greater, is that the only part of the graph that is used or that you see? No, you see this going off to the left, so it's using those values of x, so it's not B. And let's just get right to the answer here. If you look at these and you remember, if we try to build a fence right here, we can't, because the arrow signifies it keeps going forever. And we can't build a fence here because this arrow means it signifies it keeps going forever. So along the x-axis, it's going to use all those numbers. So our answer is D, all real numbers. If you can't build a fence on both sides, it's using all the real numbers. Okay, here we go, 12. Some of you are still struggling with slope. So find the slope of this line. So we'll have the red dot and we'll have the green dot. The first thing you need to do is think about slope dude. Is he skiing up or down? He's skiing down. So that means my answer is already a negative number. If you did not put a negative number into your answer, you ended up getting this incorrect. So now, since he's skiing down, remember you have to ski down first. This is what you do first, and then you always run to the right. I shouldn't say ski down, but you just fall down and then ski to the right. Fall down, ski to the right. So let's do that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my top number is 7. Let's see how many times we're going to run to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Guess what? I can reduce that. Negative 7 over 7, that's the same as saying having a slope of negative 1. 13. Give the domain and the range. Well, here's my domain, here's my range, and they put them in order from least to greatest here. So let's start here. This is my domain. It's in order from least to greatest, so they're going to say negative 2, 0, 3, and 10. Negative 2, 0, 3, and 10. So this is correct. Let's see if the range And we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. -3, 0, 7, 21. -3, 0, 7, 21. So there's our answer. Our answer is B. All right, here we go. 14. What is the domain? Here we go. So we're looking at domain of all real numbers greater than or equal to -3 and less than 2. So -3 is my lowest number. 2 is my highest number. So we're building a fence, right? Because we're talking about the x's. So let's just break this down. Does this fence right here start at -3? No, it starts at -2 on the left. So that's not going to work. Does this fence start at 1, 2, -3? Yes, I can build a fence. And then does it stop at 2 here? Yes. So we're going to put a question mark by this guy. If you look here, this one's at -4, 1, and this one is at, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. So just by knowing where the fence is going to be built, our answer is B. 15, they give us an equation and they give us another functional notation. They want to know what is f of -1/2. So if you remember our strategy, we're going to write this down right here. And the reason why we do that is because now they're telling us if x is -1/2, what is the y part that goes with it? Well, they give us an equation right here. We can write that as y equals, parentheses, x minus 2 squared. We're going to type that in to the calculator here. Let's do that. So we have parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared. We're going to go to our table, and we're looking for when x, we're looking for this right here, when x is -1/2. You don't see x is -1/2, do you? So we have to set our table. So this is what you can do. Go to second, go to table set. And right here where it says table start, where do you want your table to start? I want my table to start exactly at -1/2, because if I do that, it's going to automatically give me the value of y right across from it. So we're going to type this in -1/2, go to your table, and now you can see that when x is -1/2, the y value is 6.25. And there's my answer. Okay, 16, similar problem. They give us y equals, so we're going to write this as y equals x squared plus 3. And so we're just going to graph this in our calculator. So here we go, x squared plus 3. We're going to go back to our table, but our table is counting by halves. We want them to count by whole numbers, so we're going to go back to our table set and start it let's start it at 0 or 1. So now we can look when x is 0, because these are my x's, so they're telling you when the domain or the x's are these, it's asking what are the ranges, what are the outputs. So when x is 0, y is 3, so I can cross out C and D. When x is 2, our next number is 7 for the y, so our answer is A. We did 17, that one was 80, we did that one was on our review, that one was simple. So I'm not going to go over that one. So on 18, it's asking what is the domain, what are the x values, 52, 72, 86, 105, boom. That's it. 19, I'm going to go straight to the equation. I'm going to write it as y equals 7h. You can write it as y equals 7x. They're telling you S is the salary. So this is your salary right here. And then H is the hours. And the reason why you want to know that is because now I know the domain and the range, right? So what would be a reasonable domain? Domain is talking about what you plug into the problem, or the hours. What are the reasonable hours? Well, it tells you right here, he can work between 15 and 35. So there's only one answer, 15 to 35. Plus they're talking about domain, x's. So it can't be B and it can't be D. And then 20, what is the maximum value of the range or the y or the output? Again, this was the same one we did. It says the party costs 50 bucks plus $10 for every guest. And they want to know they can put what is the output or the range if we plug 15 in. Well, 15 times 10 is 150. Add 50 to it, you get 200.